Are you someone like me who enjoys the thrill of watching quiz and game shows? If so, then this next series of videos might be of interest to you. Are you the sort of person like me who sits there watching these programs and fails to understand how stupid and how silly some people are when they're asked a very, very simple question? For example, what is the capital of France? Is it A, Paris, B, Theresa May, or C, Geoff Hurst in the 1966 World Cup final? If your answer is anything other than A, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And this brings me to this series of videos. I've been looking through my Wii collection of variable content, shall we say, and I've noticed that there's quite a lot of games I own based on popular quiz shows and or reality TV programs which have a, I suppose, game show element to them. There is the prospect of going through a series of weeks or tasks to eventually win something rather than being asked straightforward questions. So this series is very going to be much based upon the fact that we might be doing quiz shows, or I might be doing games that are based on reality TV competitions. And you'll see what I'm getting at with the first video. If you've read the description, you'll know what I'm talking about, which sort of spoils the surprise a bit. And I thought this would be quite fun to do, because probably amongst all those games are going to be some things which are going to be absolutely not worth your while, and you'll wonder how on earth these games came out originally at full price. I remember back in the day when I was stunned to see that the Amiga version of Pictionary was retailing for £25, when quite literally you could walk down to W.H. Smith's and for less than £1 bought a pad of paper and some pens and recreated the same game without the need to spend a further £24 on it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you to the very first game that I've picked from this selection, and I'm going to do a playthrough. Now, given the nature of this game, it's quite a, what should we say, chore, and you'll see that from the video. I filmed all this, I played it before. I'm going to have the commentary over it afterwards and just sort of pick some of the more interesting points out of it. So the first piece of garbage that I'm going to be playing is this: America's Next Top Model. Now, why do I have this game in my collection? Well, usually 99% of the time the answer is because it's cheap. This is what can only be described as complete fodder. I've never seen America's Top Model, I've never been interested in America's Top Model, and I'm very likely never to be America's Top Model, or indeed America's Next Top Model. So without further ado, let's see what this is all about as I present to you the very first in this series of game show and reality games on the Nintendo Wii. So let's get started then. This is, as we said, America's Top Model on the Wii, based on the popular reality TV program that I've never heard of before. And as you can see, this game came out in 2010. Now, just a bit of a recap on this one. I did actually sort of play this game initially for the first 2 days. As you can see, it's always showing on Wednesday, and I forgot to record the first 2 days, which is rather silly, wasn't it? Didn't miss an awful lot. You've got an option of playing story mode, free mode. The story mode sort of follows the competition as it would be. You go through a week. It's sort of like a week by week elimination process, and the first game is sort of wandering around trying to find out what's going on, meeting the other contestants, engaging in some really banal conversation, which you will see very, very shortly. And then you start each day afresh, and as you can see, we're in the mansion, which is where all the models live. I can't believe I'm talking about this. And then you interact with other people here, and as you can see here, you can see there's lots of really sort of inane prattling going on here. You are allowed during these conversations to select possibly from maybe up to 3 different phrases, and by that it's all like choose your own adventure. You pick one, and then basically what happens is that the game sort of follows that path, so you can just be nice to people, not very nice to people, and it sort of bases it on that. What we're talking about here is there are 2 sort of functions off the Wii remote. One is a map of the area, which we'll come to a bit later. The other one is a PDA, which basically holds all your information there, keeps up to date as to what you should be doing. So what we'll do now is have a quick look at that. And this is it. So this is the day, the Wednesday. Positions, what the sort of tasks are for the week, where everybody's standing, and the theme for the week this week, which is casual wear, and it sort of tells you what sort of things you should be looking at wearing and what you shouldn't be looking at wearing. In my case, as you can see, I've gone for a rather fetching sort of white top with some rather short shorts because it's casual week, and if I was this particular character, that would be what I'd be doing. That sounds even more weird to say, doesn't it, really? I don't get too involved in this because it might sort of throw up a number of possible things that have been at the back of my mind for a very long time now. I'm only joking. And there's also judges as well you have to interact with, and the judges are the ones that will sort of judge you at the end of the week. That's what they do because they're called judges. And then they will score you, and then by the end of the week you'll have a score, and then there's an elimination process, and that's how basically it works. Now, during the start of the game, there's probably 8, I think it's 10 models you go up against. You're allowed to pick one of those from that pre-list. You can give them a name. They've all got their own names. For some reason, I sort of picked RetroBear. But it's also I'm sort of playing the game. Now, this particular conversation we're about to have here now is with the lady who's going to judge the catwalking. And as you see, she's called Victoria, and they're going to a really, really stupid English accent. Having never seen the programme, I don't know whether or not this is based on somebody in real life. Also, as we can see, these stupidly exaggerated expressions when these conversations are taking place, and they have no correspondence whatsoever to what you're actually saying. So what she's now saying is go to the main city. So what you do is go to the driver, and he will take you to the city. The driver is called Eric. How do I know this? Because it will tell you in a second. There you go. And I've spoken to him before, so you know we got on quite well. It's day 3. He seems all right. Nice sort of bloke. Possibly doubles as a hitman when he's not sort of driving models around to the city. So every time you go to a different area, it loads it in. You get this little image here. One of the great bonuses of this game is you actually have the facility to turn it off at any particular time. I always found that quite useful, especially when games are quite as basically basic as this. There can't be any more basic a game sort of model for this. It really is quite strange how something which is so little interactive, so little use of the controls, actually gets this far. I mean, the first 2 days are practically walking around and pointing and clicking. There is nothing else in this, and you don't, until you get to this point, you don't actually get an opportunity to do anything more strenuous than sort of waving your cursor around and doing this. Now, there's 2 sort of ways of getting around the city. As you can see, I've gone for the running mode here, and this is the map, and I'm represented by the green dot, which is down the bottom in the middle, and you'll see a star which is sort of up towards the middle left. That's where I've got to get to the next bit of the game. So we'll just run in this rather, I don't know what would you call that? Was it running? I didn't realise there'd be so much running in this game. Also across the top, as you can see, there are sort of 4 bars, which I've got absolutely no idea what they mean, because when I bought this game, it had got absolutely no instructions. Members of the public are walking around. You can interact with them as well. So what I'm going to try and be is generally nice to this man called Tim, who seems to be dressed for the office. He's rather creepy as well because he watches all the girls' progress every day, possibly through a long range lens, I don't know. I'm trying to be nice to here, saying thank you for giving me your continued encouragement, and he's just basically being a douche. So off he goes to whatever mundane part of his life is next, and all these people walking around here, the mixture of models, judges and members of the public. Looks like a rather sort of common sort of shopping centre, really. Here's the main centre anyway. This is where all the judging is going to take place. That's the catwalk. We're just going past there at a great rate of knots. All sorts of different rooms. There's a gym, there's a restaurant, there's a boutique, there's a styling place. This is where you practice on the catwalk. As you see, I'm on the catwalk now and I shouldn't be there, so come off that. She does run in an awkwardly funny way, doesn't she? I mean, she has got ridiculous shoes on, so we've gone for some rather more, to say, everyday flats for this particular one. I'm still not quite sure where I'm meant to be going. As you can see, I'm just around the corner from where I'm meant to be. And these people you can see on the right hand side, they just walk around. They've got no sort of purpose. We will see a bit later on, because what I've done is recorded this and then doing the commentary over it, is that you'll see that they get stuck in various sort of positions. The big star you can just see on the right hand side is actually my cursor. It just sort of freezes when it's on the screen, so that confuses me a bit later on. So here we are now at the catwalk, and as you see, she's going to explain to me exactly what's required. And this is where the first actual sort of proper interaction starts with this game. You actually have an opportunity now to use the controls. And to be honest with you, it's, well, rubbish. What she's going to do is give a demonstration, and you can press button 1. I'm not going to do it at the moment. And what you can see here is a cursor arrows going down the bottom of the screen. Once they hit the circle, you then have to use the Wii remote and nunchuck, one in left hand, one in right hand, and basically move corresponding to where those arrows are meant to be in time, so you have a perfect walk. And of course she's got a perfect walk because she's an expert. Well, I presume she's an expert. She speaks in an English accent and is quite posh, so she must be more of an expert than I am anyway. And this is, you're sort of sitting there thinking, well, this is the interactive part of the game. This is actually gameplay. This is the best use of the Wii remote that you could possibly come across. It's absolutely stupid. I can't even see why the point is of the nunchuck, other than it's just another control to use. So, and it goes on forever, and you're sitting here watching this and thinking, okay, well, I've got the hang of it now. So basically, what I've got to do is when the arrow hits a circle, I move the controls in that manner. Well, that's not too difficult, is it? It's a rhythm game, and they are completely shallow, much like the people in this game. In fact, the only depth you have here is the fountain we saw right at the very beginning by the car, which I'll point out a bit later. There is some depth to that, and possibly the fridge as well. There's a quite deep sort of double fridge, which we'll see again a bit later on. You can see why this game was amazingly average when it came out, because it's not got better with age, has it? I mean, let's be honest with you, this is the basic bare minimum somebody would have to do to play a game. And of course it's going to be a flawless performance. There we go. So she's done that there. You're meant to sit there and think, okay, that's what I've got to do now. So it's going to be my turn. Do I need to do it again? No, thank you. That's 3 minutes of my life I'm not going to get back. And I've learned a lot. Well, yes, I now need to know I need to move the Wii remote and the nunchuck in a certain direction. Confidence there saying I'm going to fail. Well, we'll see about that. Right, so this now will be me walking down the catwalk. And as you can see, there we go. This is just, you can see, flicking the nunchuck or Wii remote in the indicated direction. I mean, it's not exactly 5 buttons on a guitar for Guitar Hero on the hardest level, is it? Let's be honest with you. But then again, is the game aimed at people who are playing Guitar Hero? Probably not. I'm having a bit of a problem with the Wii remote here because the battery started playing up. So here we go. So as you can see, yellow indicates I'm a bit early. That's probably, I say premature, but that would lead to another thing. And I hit a rhythm short. Oh, red is a complete fail. And actually what's quite good about it, if you do sort of mistime something, her walk is affected by that. It's quite funny because if you get it completely wrong, there you go, little trip there, and it says clumsy turn because you've tripped. If you get it really wrong, she actually sort of stumbles about all over the place, like somebody who's had far too much to drink, or is completely bored by what's going on screen. But I don't think I'm making a bad fist at this, to be honest with you. It's the first time I did it. And let's be honest with you, I'm not great at games, so this is probably about a very sensible, safe level for me to be coming in at. I've really got a rhythm going now. Here we go. Green, green, green. Oh, red. Oh, bugger. There you go. I'm not really quite sure what who this game was aimed at, because... Oh, made a right pig's ear of that. I mean, you're not learning anything from it, are you? Are you achieving anything? No, I'm just moving. There you go. Oh, arms flailing there, which means I missed one. Another one down, 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 down. And a good finish. A finish well, finish strongly. That's the best way to do it. Always leaving wanting more. Ta-da! And there you go. And you get a result at the end of it, and I've got 877 out of, I don't know, 880, possibly. Not bad for a beginner. Well, actually, I think that was a pretty good go. And I'll tell her, there you go, I think I did pretty well. So you're actually saying, well, I'm being confident about there, and then all of a sudden you shot down and saying, no, you're not. Sufficient. Sufficient? Dear, oh dear. And it's yeah, I just don't like games like, because that bloke, there was talking about people standing around aimlessly, that bloke is standing around the background just looking about. I mean, what's he looking at, the brickwork? Is he checking the pointing? Seems alright to me from where I'm sitting anyway. Well, you won't see much with those glasses on, will he? So you've done that, and that's sort of your big task for the day. So you then sort of encounter the final person you haven't met, who's just arrived. It's day 3. You know, a bit late to the contest here, love, aren't you? And now she's wearing a hat. I desperately tried to find a way of activating the hats in the wardrobe, which we'll come to shortly, and I could not do so. I thought a cowboy hat would go quite nicely with this particular outfit, but no, couldn't find to get the accessories sorted out. Such is the life of a model. And just try and distract a little bit here by saying, yes, she's a really easy judge, and then all of a sudden, I don't believe you. I don't believe you either. I don't believe I'm actually playing this. It's 40 odd minutes of footage plus the half an hour, 40 minutes or so. So basically an hour and a half to complete 1 week's worth of setting up to get to the final sort of round. And you can't skip this, you can't avoid this. I mean, you have to do what it tells you to do. The instructions come across the bottom of the screen, but you don't have to go around interacting with everybody. It boosts your score, it creates sort of friends, it creates rivalries, it's designed to give it a bit of edge. But whatever. And as we can see, there's plenty of depth there on the left hand side and straight in front of you. That would be probably about maybe 6 foot worth of water there. So I've now got to find the other judge to talk to, which will be the fitness trainer. This is another interactive part of the game. Let's see, I'm miles away from where I should be. This is really confusing because there's no sort of arrows on the screen to point you in the right direction. Just going back to those bars at the top left, I think is a food or a stamina bar, and you can sort of stop and go to the restaurant or get food from the fridge. The second one, I have absolutely no idea what that is. The third one, I'm guessing, is photogenesis. Is that such a word? Possibly. And then the fourth one, I think, is probably the like, dislike, how popular you are type thing bar as well. And as you can see, we've got somebody stuck right in the middle of this conversation. The game isn't intelligent enough to move with that person out of the way. She's one of the other models, and she's just stood there, and it gets really awkward now. I mean, look at those eyes. She's staring at him. He's not paying any attention. He's got this really stupid accent as well. You can tell he must be a trainer because he's got one of those scars around his neck. You can always tell, can't you? People who pay more attention to their clothes and things like that are bound to be a judge, or I don't know. Perhaps I'm just being a bit finicky because I dress rubbishly. You've seen the videos. I mean, this is casual week. I mean, technically I should nail this, shouldn't I? Really? I mean, I'm the most casual person I know. So, looks like we're going to be doing some sort of fitness training now. And again, that's another level. You're marked on 3 things at the end of the week. Fitness, wet clothing, and your catwalk. And you've got 3 options here: gymnastics, cardio, and spinning. Now, when I thought spinning, I thought, what on earth is that? And then all of a sudden it appears to be some sort of cycling exercise. Do I look like I go to the gym? I don't know. So, already here I'm looking at this. Hold the Wii nunchuck remote horizontally on the bike and then rotate them. And I was like, what? Move both in a forward rotation to spin. So I couldn't quite get the hang of this. And you'll see here how miserably I'll get on. And absolutely nothing happens. I'm sort of waving the Wii remotes around like a banshee at the moment, trying to work something out, and I've just managed to move my right leg, and all of a sudden you move. And then you're meant to sort of, what I realise now is try and keep in that arrow and keep a pace up and not sort of fall outside of it. So if I'm now going too fast, it's telling me to slow down a bit, and then it moves a bit, and then I slow down and it says move up again. I presume this is how spinning works. I mean, there's no spinning in this whatsoever. If you said cycling, I know what you were talking about. There's an efficiency rating at the top, which I'm guessing is basically how much fitness I'm getting out of this, which probably is no very much. But I am actually, at this point, sweating profusely, waving the controls around, trying to get some sort of speed up. And he's very good at this. He seems to know what he's doing. I can't remember the last time I was on a bike, possibly about 1995. and it shows at the moment. They always say, you know, once you ride a bike, you never, you know, it's like you never know how to not ride a bike. I've never ridden a bike so much anyway. I prefer the standing still ones because you can cause less damage that way. I'll tell you an interesting story about a bike actually, just while this goes on. Or shall I don't know. I think last time I rode a bike on the road, I nearly got run over or hit by a car, so I decided I wasn't going to do that ever again. I once went out for my mates used to come down on bikes and sort of call in, and I said, well, I'm got a bike to come out. And they said, yeah, well, you should do. I said, no, I ain't got a bike. I said, well, you can run round after us. I'm not going to run round after you on a bike. Don't be stupid. Anyway, back from the tangent, and we can see that I'm sweating, and it seems to be a fairly good workout, and he was quite happy with that. This bloke is just standing there for no apparent reason other than that he likes watching people who've been cycling who are all sweaty and just come out the shower possibly. I may have showered, I don't know, but that option wasn't in the game. And it's just sort of interacting with somebody who I didn't really want to interact in the first place because I'm not going to be talking to him.
Nice to meet you.
And again, really banal conversation. And again, another perv who enjoys watching the girl's progress every day from probably a bush or a tree with some binoculars. And I've got to go because I've got model stuff to do, which may involve painting some Warhammer figures. Because those are the sort of models that you're interested in, aren't they, really? They're little cars and what have you, not this sort of thing. So he was very happy, you did well and you are fit. Now, what's he commenting on there? The fact that I've actually a good workout, or that I tend to keep myself fairly in trim? Watch the fatty food, and remember sometimes I can come to judge you on your fitness, huh? Well, I like fatty food. I come to the conclusion that if I was actually sort of cut open and sort of my inside sucked out, it'd be sort of like eating lard, but quite a nice flavour of lard, because lard has no flavour to it. Moving swiftly on, it is now telling me that I've got to go to bed to the end of the day, and this is how you sort of move from one day to the next. Back to the car, back to the mansion, and then go to bed. And then by going to bed, it ends the day, and then you start afresh the next day with the next thing to do. So we'll go and see if the hitman will take me back.
Hi there.
Like a well-known, sort of a popular late-night television programme from the 1980s, The Hitman and Her, who happens to be me. And loading, why have we got loading screens? I mean, it takes forever to load it back in again. I mean, there's no sort of graphical prowess that this game requires an awful lot of loading to go on, and it's very, very basically done. I don't think it looks a particularly great game. Back at the mansion, it's all pretty basic stuff. So, done everything there, and then, as you see, task at the bottom, go to bed to end the day, that's it, I've done. There's nothing else for me to do. No standings at the moment, and again that's the list of stuff that you have to comply with during that week. So running off to bed, but it's still light outside. I thought being a model you have to burn the candle at both ends. Maybe not, I don't know. And this is another option in there as well. So I mentioned about sort of going to a restaurant. Also within the property you've got a fridge, and as you can see I've got quite low health at the top left hand corner. There's options here. There's a healthy option, there's a sort of a fattier option, and there's an even fattier option. So while it gives you energy, it will also reduce the fitness level you've just created. So I only created 23 fitness. If I eat a slice of pizza, I'm going to use all that up. And by eating some fruit, it just sort of increased my health bar a little bit. Oh, and then Barbara's in the way. No, I think I'll talk to Barbara this time. She doesn't like me.
What do you want?
As you can see. So I thought, ask her, why don't we get along? Why can't we all just get along? And I'm really nasty. Do I look nasty? Don't answer that. So let's try and apologise. Nope, you don't want to know. Okay, that's your fault. That's a crap hat, by the way. And what sort of name is Barbara? So this is upstairs. This is your main room. You can see there's a wardrobe there on the left hand side. And then you go to bed without any covers on. It must be very warm. And that doesn't really tell you anything. I've not worked out how to get points during the process. And then what happens is, when RetroBear goes to bed, all his friends go to bed too. The mice on the mechanical organ, Gabriel and Madeline become just dolls, and Professor Ethel is still a carved old woodpecker in the shape of a bookend, or possibly the way around. And then, lo and behold, day 4 starts, and the game saves, which is great. So you wait for instruction at the bottom and go and talk to Monica, the one who's wearing the hat who was sort of stuck in the gym. And she hasn't changed her clothes from the day before. Mind you, neither have I. You can see it's just so matter of fact. There's nothing. These conversations don't really sort of hold any, I don't know, prowess, or you play point and click. I suppose you can probably describe this as an interactive point and click adventure. But at least in those games there was some sort of humour and personality to them. So the stylist is downstairs. Let's have a quick look through the wardrobe, and you can see I'm desperately trying to pick a hat up here, but I can't. You've got shoes, you've got some sort of swimwear. There's some sunglasses here which I can't pick either. I can't pick the hats which I'd really like to pick up. Everyone else is wearing hats, why can't I? That doesn't really help. And you can see there I've got, well, you can't now because I've clicked the button. Come on. There we go, and you can see I've got some dresses to choose from. I've also got some bottoms and some tops, and some shoes. So I can check 4 particular items, but I thought, stuff it. If it's casual wear, that's casual wear, isn't it? I think it's casual wear anyway. So a bit more running around. That's one of the other models, so I'm going to talk to her. Michelle the stylist is outside. Little yellow star. And that's not the stylist, that's another person who's part of the contest. There's the deep fountain. And then what she's going to do is she's going to give me sort of like a spot stylist check, which is a surprise part of the testing process. I mean, it makes me sound like an expert. I have no sort of knowledge of this whatsoever. I'm literally playing this for the first time, and probably the last time as well. And then she'll give me some points for the day, and again I don't know if what she's going to give me is any good. And it says, explore the city and how, start making friends or enemies. So this is the highlight of the day. Beyond this there is nothing else for me to do other than go back to bed and then get to the next day, which will be the 5th day. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I've missed the first 2 days of recording, but you didn't miss anything. And to be honest with you, so far, you're not really missing an awful lot. Now, if you are tuning in halfway through this, you're probably wondering what the bloody hell's going on. Well, same as the rest of us, we all wonder what bloody hell's going on. And the voice acting as well is incredibly average. It's what you would expect from something like this. You've got the real sort of mix of stereotypes. Some of these people you talk to, you would expect to people to talk to. So I've got to talk to Katie now. Apparently we're great friends, according to that. I wouldn't have chosen that top though. It doesn't look great. I'm already getting into it. Mind you, I don't want the sleeves, and the sleeves are quite nice on that. Oh dear. There's not a lot to talk about, is there really? You're watching a game and there's absolutely very, very little to talk about. I'd love to tell you that this is a great experience, that as you go on you get more and more into it, and at the moment I'm just sort of desperately trying to finish the day. But I've got to take this conversation first before I do anything else. There's no substance to this whatsoever. I think at some point I just get a bit fed up with all this and just... So what I could do, I could go to the city and walk around and talk to people, but I don't want to. Because I'm desperately trying to get to the next point in the game, which is sort of the key point of the game, the final day. There's a butterfly there. Where's that come from? Yeah, little butterfly went through, and it's just flying around there by the fountain again. Go to bed to end the day. Do I really want to talk to Monica? No. I don't like her hat. So, probably a quick trip to the fridge and see what food is in there. And again, it's exactly the same options as before. So I could spend my entire... And again, you can see simulating she's eating something by rubbing her stomach afterwards. I mean, who does that? Unless you're patting your head at the same time. It's a completely futile exercise. And you can just stand here as much as you want and just eat the food, because there's a plentiful supply of what appears to be donuts, pizza and fruit. And the fruit will give you the less energy, but it doesn't take anything off your fitness level. I think maybe one more. Go on then. Oh, you fruit monster, you. I mean, she looks like she eats a lot of pizza, doesn't she? I mean, they all do. Oh, now. Oh, that's Sarah. And she's also got a fairly silly hat on as well.
Hello, darling.
And you can see that the graphics are sort of done in that particular style, that everything sort of looks flat. You can see from the other girl's top, they're sort of like patterns and flaps and things, and there should be a bit more depth in the graphics to them, but there isn't. So what I'm trying to do here is insult her, because I think she's had a nose job. She thinks it's her real nose. I think she's got it on loan from an elephant. We'll have to see. And then all of a sudden this game starts out of nowhere having a fight, and I'm like thinking, what? So it sort of goes from being a model to now sort of simulating Tekken 6. And the controls are absolutely rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Non-responsive. Completely confusing. And I'm just, you know, okay, so I managed to grab hold there and shake her. And as you can see, she's got an energy bar at the bottom right hand corner. And there's a bit of a push off there. But, I mean, what on earth? I mean, the combat, I mean, yeah, okay, it's not Tekken 6 then, you know. It's not even We Are Kung Fu or Way of the Exploding Fist. Oh, there were a few fingers in the air there we go. And then I've got no energy left, and I'm going to end up on the floor in a minute. Oh no, absolutely knackered. No, I've had enough. And ta-da, I've lost that, and as you can see, it's auto-adjusted my readings at the top. Not one spinning heel kick. A few pushes and shoves, and that's it. I'm done for the day. And the only thing to do is go to bed and speak to housekeeping, because there's still no covers on that bed. And I scored 540 points from the style judge. Now again, I don't know if that's any good or not. Is it any good? What's it scored out of? And so once again we go into the land of Nod. I think it's quite well done, that actually. It looks, it's a bit different from just sort of like whacking through to the next day. If you pardon the expression, whacking. And just to sort of simulate day changing into night, then back to day again. So this is it. This is the big day. This is the day of the week you've all been looking forward to, where the judging is done. And I don't know who this Vanessa is. I don't think I've spoken to her before. I sort of quite surprised she was standing there, to be honest with you. Very, very what's the word, disconcerting when you just got out of bed and there's somebody standing over your bed, and the first thing they want to do is to insult you. Usually I have to get out of bed and go to work before that happens. And then here we go, another combat situation. And again, the controls, I was moving those up and down very, very quickly. That didn't make any difference. And round one, fight! Fight! Oh, fine. Oh, okay, so she can... And see, by sticking fingers up in the air at me, I've lost like a quarter of my energy. If only life was so simple as that. You'd win a lot more fights, wouldn't you, really? Flick the bird off at somebody and all of a sudden they'll collapse on the floor and that'll be it. Job done. Nope. So, again, oh, she might possibly grabbing my head, I don't know, and two head shakes, and all of a sudden, oh, I could be some sort of like invisible force power there, by just sort of, you know, possibly using an invisible Hadoken. Lots of push-offs. And absolutely nothing. And then, oh, there we go. Oh, there you go. Oh, that was a bit uncalled for. So basically I'm beaten up by somebody who's dressed like a school teacher. So what it is now is you get your preparation ready for the final day. So you pick your final outfit, and then you go to the city, and then you do all the judging things. Now bear in mind today, this theme for the week is casual. Now I think that's a pretty casual thing. You can see there, those, certainly the two on the left hand side, possibly a bit too dressy. The one in the middle maybe a bit too smart. On the left, that's certainly well out of the question. That's not casual. So let's slip into something a bit more comfortable. And I should have some matching shoes to go with that. Yes, there we go. There's a pair of green, there we go. That's coordination, isn't it? Look at the coordination on that. So, shall we go with that? Yeah, go on. There's no, because the idea, you can actually buy clothes as you go along. There's a shopping centre, they give you some spending money, and just go and pick clothes out. There's no sort of try them on and see how they fit or anything like that. You just buy what you want. And as you can see by picking that, my sort of camera icon, the third one across the top, has now dropped down to practically 0. It's obviously all the running around I'm doing and all the fruit I'm eating. I'll have a change of heart here, I think. Yes. Maybe that's not the best outfit. Possibly it is. Barbara, no, possibly not. No, I'm going to think again. So let's go back to where we were. Could possibly go out just dressed in that, but I think that will create the wrong impression. Short shorts, pink trousers, coral trousers. They're quite casual. Those are jeans. They're fairly casual. Okay, we'll go with those. I think that looks quite decent. Just change the shoes probably back to those ones I was wearing before. There we go. See, already I've played this game for 45 minutes and I'm an expert. I don't think that looks too bad. But depending on what you think of casual, you know, what is casual? I suppose really what I should have been looking is what is everybody else is running around wearing, and probably based it a bit more on that. See there, somebody's gone out wearing a hat. There's somebody else down there wearing a hat. That's quite casual. Now at the moment I've got 0 energy, so I was just pressing the run button here and it wouldn't let me do it, so I've got to go and eat something in the fridge. So spending all my time at this fridge. So you know what, bugger it, I'm going to eat the pizza. There we go. Oh, double rub on that one. Likes pizza. Looks like she eats a lot of pizza. I think what probably might be putting me off here is all the fruit I've been eating, because that will create quite a stink, literally, if I'm not eating anything else. I mean, it's all roughage and everything that keeps you regular, but I'm probably thinking way too much into this. I mean, there's a cooker there. I mean, you thought they might actually prepare the food. When I got here, I thought, oh, perhaps it's going to be like a cooking mama situation where you sort of prepare the food, but no, they didn't think about that because, well, it's not part of modelling, is it really? I mean, would you... You know, America's Next Top Model be judged on the base that you're able to cook? No, it's the ability to walk in a straight line, wear the right outfits, and be a bit fit. Now I'm just running around aimlessly here because I'm being confused by the giant star, which is actually my Wii remote cursor. And again, I thought there would be an opportunity to, you know, sort of experiment with sort of different hair and makeup, but no. That may come later, I don't know. And I think I'm going to give up and possibly get stuck behind that pillar there. The camera, incidentally, is atrocious. You could have to move the camera by moving the cursor on the Wii remote. There's some games where you sort of use the nunchuck to control the character move around, and then I think you press the button under the nunchuck, which I think possibly might be the Z button, which enables you to run. The cursor acts as the camera, which is really silly. Usually when I've used a nunchuck thing before, you'd sort of move the camera with the Wii remote and move your character with the nunchuck. Not this game, no, you have to use the cursor. And I'm still not sure where I'm meant to be going now, so I'm going to mess Eric around for a bit. He looks like he's had a hard night going around killing people. I'm still following the wrong cursor when I look at the map. If I'm looking at the map, I'm looking at the wrong thing, so I'm just going to fill a bit here. There's also apparently at the start of the game, I should mention as well, you're talking to your boyfriend who leaves you there, and he's a real piece of work, he is. But there is actually, if you go beyond the first week, you have to make a weekly telephone call to him, probably to reassure him that you're not going to run off with the hitman who drives the car, or possibly Dave from the fitness centre, or some bloke you bump into in the town, because obviously he's as shallow as everybody else in this game, and he calls you things like babe and very sort of condescending talking down. And I'm still not sure what I'm meant to be doing, and because what you're meant to do is go and talk to Victoria. Now what I didn't realise at the moment is Victoria is actually in the town, so I've got to go in the car and go to the city. Well, all this running around will make me very, very hot and sweaty, and a need to probably change out those trousers into something a bit more comfortable. Right, so I'd like to go to the city now. Of course. So we're nearly at the end now, which is great. Finally. Oh dear me! But you can see why Wii games get such a terrible reputation for the amount of fodder that was chucked out on them. I don't think this game came out on any format. I don't think it came out on PlayStation 2. It certainly wouldn't have made its way to any of the anything more powerful than the Wii anyway. And it shows. It really does show that people were just churning out pieces of rubbish based on a license. Historically, games are terrible with licenses or whatever. It makes a difference what it is, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a film, whether it's a game show. Even sports games are licensed with people's likenesses or based on something, and majority of those games tend to be as what they are. They're just produced for a quick buck. And believe me, a lot of games that I've got for the Wii were produced for that thing. Hopefully as part of this series, as I move on, you'll see what I'm talking about when we do all these sort of game show, quiz show, reality game shows, games based on those things, which are 10 times less enjoyable than this. And believe me, this isn't enjoyable, so you can imagine how unenjoyable this is. So finally I found the posh talking English woman, and I've got my outfit on, I've done my fitness training. So she's basically warning me that you're going to be judged on everything. You have an opportunity here to go and do a bit more prep if you wanted to. I'm, to be honest, now losing the will to live, so I just want to get onto the catwalk and get this over and done with. And there's no messing around here. Straight onto the catwalk, straight back to pointing the Wii and nunchuck in the direction the arrows are telling me to go. And I'm off to a strong start. Green, green, green. And just to add a bit of drama to it, it's sort of staged at night, even though you actually arrive during the day. All the other models are down the catwalk. There's a bloke there who's like the security guard, which you can't see, just gone out of shot on the right hand side. As you can see, the 3 judges are the 3 at the bottom there in the middle. So your stylist, your catwalk judge and your fitness judge. Up and down we go. I mean, thank God they don't make you watch the other models, because this would be just interminable. There's that guy there in the middle. He's actually sort of like a security guard, or your point of contact. Oh, you can see there, little stumble because I didn't press the thing the right way, so I'm going to get a clumsy turn or a bad pose. I don't think this was quite as good as my initial practice. The fact that I care so much about whether it was good enough or not, I don't know. Perhaps I was getting a bit too much into this. Perhaps I'm getting too much into this. But it's important. If I want to move to the next stage of the game, I've got to get this right. Oh. Oh, there we go. Little trip there because didn't press everything right, and I'm going to lose points for that. Swing those hips, girl. Swing those hips. Finish strongly. No. Failing miserably. There we go. And that, Bearomaniacs, is the game. So what they do now is, in any sort of reality show, they give you a judge. So, first of all, from telling me I look fit the 2 days previously, I've obviously eaten too much fruit because he doesn't think I look particularly fit at all, so I don't score very much on that one. Again, I don't know what these are scored out of. And not casual enough, well, I think that's pretty casual, but what am I to judge?
I agree.
So they didn't particularly like that. But saying that my casual clothes weren't good enough, Victoria then agrees and then says the Catwalk performance was fantastic, which is brilliant, and I scored a massive amount of points. But again, I don't know what they're scored out of. So I don't know if that score is particularly good. And then we're now into the selection process. This is it. This is the big moment. Will I pass the test for week 2? If I pass the test for week 2, that's going to mean another week of this and another video. Can we stand the excitement? And it's not Strictly Come Dancing this int. There's no sort of spotlights or anything like that. You know when you're called forward, you're going to get through. They're not going to call forward the first person and eliminate them. One gets eliminated each week. And the tension at this point, you could cut the tension at the moment with a piece of 2x4. It really is that bad. Is that casual? I think that's a bit dressy, to be honest with you. But what am I to, what am I to comment? I have no idea what casual is. And she's wearing a hat as well. They're all wearing hats. And they're all sportingly applauding in the background. So we're actually coming towards the end of this video anyway. We'll wait and see what the result is and whether there'll be a part 2 or not. Hope you've enjoyed the video. It has been a bit different, and the idea is to highlight in this series some games that you may or may not realise were actually made and out there. And a lot of this stuff can be picked up for, well, if you're paying any more than pence for it, you need to be having your head seriously examined. You know, it's not Mario, it's not Sonic, it's not Resident Evil. I appreciate that, and this may not be something that you're going to sit down and go all the way through. I do understand, but if you haven't made it all the way through, I really hope you enjoyed it, because it was a chore to play through, but it's actually been fun sitting down and watching it, and the observations are there. And if you do like the video and you want to see more of this series, which I'm going to be doing, so I've got quite a few of these games. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and tick the notification bell for brand new videos. Also, please feel free to get in touch. Let me know what you think of this game. If you are sick, would you like to see some more? If so, I think you need your head examined. But that's fine. I'll take those sort of subscribers. I don't mind that. I'll cater to anybody. So we're down to the final 3. Sharp intake of breath. Somebody else with a hat goes through, so now we are down to the final 2. I was a bit eager there on the button. Fingers crossed.
You're the last one to go through.
And I'm eliminated. And you can see I'm rather pissed off about it as well. And what it does now, it tells you, because you failed, let's talk to Jack, who's sort of like your security representative, that I'm out of the competition, and as a result of that I have to start again, and as a result of that, that's it. There's no need for me to carry on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for watching. I am not America's Next Top Model, but I am RetroBear. Hope you will tune in again soon for some more fun and games on the Wii, but that's all for now. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Bye for now.